Well, congratulations on this first match that you play here in Madrid Open. So we want to know, how was you feeling?
No, I feel really great. I love Madrid. It's an amazing tournament. Sí, cada vez que vengo aquí siento muy cómoda, siento en casa.
The crowd expected a routine interview, but then Eala grabbed the mic and started speaking flawless Spanish like she owned Madrid, and suddenly the stadium lost its mind while Boris Becker sat there stunned, completely caught off guard by something nobody saw coming. How did she become that fluent? What has she been hiding all this time? And if this shocked Becker, what else is about to surprise the tennis world?
Eala, the teenager from the Philippines, who didn't have to play today.
You're calling it.
She's winning the tournament.
Eala?
Yep.
Oh,
Wow. Why do you say that?
Mic drop from Anaco.
I don't have to elaborate.
How is she going to beat Iga?
No, I think, look, it's been so much fun to watch her play. I love the fact that she's been able to take power and use it against.
The crowd was supposed to applaud briefly, exchange a few appreciative nods, and simply move along to the next match without a second thought. That is the established pattern at these events. A player finishes, offers a few safe, predictable remarks, smiles at the camera, and walks off. Comfortable, expected, almost forgettable.
Showed off your skills on the clay court, but then right after the match, you showed off your Spanish speaking skills. Can you speak Spanish? Have you been working on that?
Oh, well, yeah, I've lived in Spain for a really long time already, and I did study Spanish in school there, so...
And then Eala lifted that microphone in Madrid and quietly dismantled that entire formula without a hint of effort or intention. Within moments, the venue stopped feeling like a tennis event and started resembling something entirely unscripted. The words flowed out smoothly, naturally, and completely effortlessly. And then, almost simultaneously, the understanding swept through the stands, all at once.
Call tennis chess, the game of chess, with running. You know, you have to be very clever. I haven't seen a successful tennis player yet who was dumb. You need to be very intelligent how to move to point. You have to be intelligent how you use your poker game, how you outmaneuver your opponent.
This was not a prepared speech. This was not a memorized phrase. This was not a courteous gesture toward the local fan base. This was genuine fluency. Deep-rooted fluency. The kind that requires no validation because it has already earned its place. The response was immediate. Madrid did not politely applaud. Madrid exploded.
Necessarily have a player from the Philippines you could emulate. Who did you look up to?
From the Philippines was difficult to, I didn't really have anyone from home to look up to at this stage, but internationally, I looked up a lot to Maria Sharapova. So when I was younger, I didn't really understand what was kind of going on in the game. I liked that she was fiery, I liked that she was aggressive, and of course, she presents herself very well. I felt like, she always had nice outfits, and so she...
What makes that reaction even more striking is not just its volume, but its speed. It arrived before she had even completed her first full sentence. Spanish audiences have a finely tuned instinct for language authenticity, and they can detect the difference between surface-level effort and genuine mastery within the first few words. They recognized something that goes beyond practice. They recognized true ownership of the language. And that is where the comfortable narrative about her career starts to unravel. Because the general assumption was that observers were watching a talented young athlete developing her skills and slowly establishing herself on tour. That was the visible story. Straightforward and easy to follow. But what Madrid exposed in a single unplanned moment is that an entirely separate layer had been taking shape quietly, away from any camera or commentary. And almost no one had noticed. Even Boris Becker, a figure who has witnessed virtually every dimension of this sport, appeared genuinely caught off guard. A man who has navigated multiple generations of tennis excellence, dissected countless players, and built his reputation on reading situations as they develop in real time. Surprise is not a state he typically occupies. Yet in that moment, he simply went quiet. And that silence said more than any prepared analysis could have, because it revealed that this was not just impressive. It was unexpected at a level that even seasoned experts had not accounted for.
This year in Australia, you played Alex Eala. She's inside the stadium right now. You couldn't get into court 6. What was that experience like for you? You won that match, by the way, came back from a set down and won. But what was it like having all those fans, maybe not against you, but for your opponent?
No, that's actually really great that she has so many fans, especially for tennis, it's good. I just remember, I didn't even, I don't know, I wasn't even listening to the crowd. I was just focused.
To understand why that reaction carried so much weight, the story has to return to a setting that rarely attracts the same attention as a Grand Slam or a main draw victory. Not the packed arenas, not the televised showdowns, but a quieter environment where reputations are not built through crowd applause, but through consistent work, personal discomfort, and relentless adaptation. That setting is the Rafa Nadal Academy. From the outside, it appears to be an elite training center. In practice, it functions more like a total immersion program where young athletes are not simply coached on court but fundamentally reshaped in how they approach competition, how they communicate, and how they carry themselves in high-stakes environments. It is not built for comfort. It is built for transformation. For a teenager arriving from the Philippines, that transformation came with a clear, unspoken expectation. You adapt, or you fall behind. The environment does not soften itself for anyone. You are the variable. You are the one expected to change. Most who pass through that system learn enough to manage. Some even thrive. But very few go beyond functional adaptation and actually absorb the culture at a foundational level. That is precisely where Eala separated herself without the outside world registering it. While others were learning Spanish as a practical tool, she was treating it as something far more personal. While others used it to communicate, she used it to connect. And gradually, without any public announcement, something meaningful shifted. The language stopped feeling like something borrowed and started becoming internal.
With the same mentality as every match, same mentality as today, she's a big player. So I have to be ready for what she's gonna bring out and trust that I will prepare well.
Yeah, but you have you've beaten her before, so that's really gonna help boost your confidence na kahit defending champion siya dito, world number 2 na. Kaya mo mag-repeat, di ba? Pero every game na is different.
Yeah, I would say every game is different. And just because I beat her last time, it's not like,
What makes this especially remarkable is how uncommon this level of cultural immersion actually is within professional tennis. Athletes cross continents regularly, train in foreign countries, and pick up scattered pieces of different cultures along the way. But full absorption, the kind that actually reshapes a person, is rare. It is far easier to keep your existing identity intact and simply add skills around it. She chose the harder route. She stayed in the discomfort long enough for it to leave a mark. And Madrid became the moment where that invisible process surfaced for everyone to see. The irony is that none of it ever appeared in any performance metric. There is no statistical category for cultural belonging. No ranking system that accounts for the depth of someone's immersion into a foreign environment. So the tennis world missed it entirely. Until it was standing right in front of them and could no longer be overlooked. The crowd was not simply reacting to a language skill. They were responding to what that skill represented. Years of commitment. Years of choosing difficulty over convenience. Years of quietly building something that required no external recognition. Years of choosing the harder path when an easier one was available.
Hundreds and hundreds of fans, and I imagine a lot of them Filipino fans that have come to support you.
Yeah, that's, I've never seen any other nationality do this, but I swear if you just walk on the street and you cross paths, you're going to know they're Filipino. You'll know right away, you'll know instantly. And I think that's just the sense of, we say kapwa in Filipino, it's like sense of community or family, like that, yeah. In the Philippines, when no one's taken that route and succeeded yet, it's hard to see yourself.
And in that moment, all of it became visible at once. Even Becker could not immediately translate it into clean commentary. Because how do you analyze something that was never truly being tracked? You cannot. You simply watch and try to make sense of it afterward. Back in the Philippines, the response carried an entirely different emotional register. This was not about a language skill or a crowd moment. It was about a form of representation that does not surface often, someone standing on a global platform and commanding it fluently in a language that has no connection to their origin. That lands differently. It is not just a source of pride. It is confirmation. And when that is combined with the authentic acceptance of a Spanish crowd, something uncommon takes shape, a bridge between two identities that sports narratives rarely hold together in the same frame. That is what made Madrid feel like more than a tournament result. It felt like a reveal of a story that had been quietly developing for years without anyone properly documenting it. Developing for years without anyone properly documenting it.
So it was a long flight, but you're here now, excited about the games?
Oh, excited naman, syempre. Ang haba ng biyahe mulang Spain, but I'm so excited to be here. Excited din ako makasama yung team, ang bait-bait ng mga tao dito. At syempre, masaya kapag kasama sila. So, sobrang excited.
Of course, I'm sure you're very happy with the year that you've had, buong 2025. And now, you get to top it off with competing in the SEA Games. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. I missed a lot.
Now, every match, she carries a different dimension of anticipation. Not just around results, but around presence. Around how this layered combination of background, culture, and competitive ability continues to develop under a spotlight that has finally caught up to her. The Madrid moment did not simply add a new element to how people perceive Eala. It prompted a broader reconsideration of how development in professional tennis is actually measured. The sport has always prioritized quantifiable outputs, rankings, titles, head-to-head records. Yet what unfolded in that post-match setting pointed to something equally significant that had been growing outside those traditional indicators. Clay courts in Spain are not just a playing surface. They carry a specific rhythm, a philosophy of construction, and a style of competition deeply embedded in the country's relationship with the game. Athletes who develop within that system tend to move with an instinctive understanding of its demands that shorter training periods simply cannot replicate.
I can hold for one more year, but why? To say goodbye in every single tournament? I mean, I don't have that ego to need that. For me today, I mean, don't make sense to keep going knowing that I don't have the real chance to be competitive the way that I like.
It's always a pleasure playing against you. You are a big champion. For me, you're the greatest.
Eala's years at the Rafa Nadal Academy have given her far more than an improved technical foundation on clay. They have allowed her to internalize the patience, the tactical composure, and the point-building discipline that characterize Spanish tennis at its highest level. This familiarity becomes a practical asset during high-pressure situations, because the environment no longer requires extra mental processing to navigate. She is not adjusting in real time. She already adjusted long ago. That distinction, while invisible in statistics, can quietly shape the outcome of matches in ways that are hard to quantify but impossible to dismiss. For experienced analysts like Becker, projections have traditionally been built around visible performance markers. Eala's story now includes a dimension that remained hidden until recently, which means any assessment that leaves it out risks being incomplete.
I remember attending the first round of her match, which was a tough match at the US Open, and then I went back home, and then I was contemplating coming back, and I wanted to witness her win because I think she has such an amazing head on her shoulders and the game, and I think she has a voice and a platform that's going to transcend the sport. And as we know now, sport is not just tennis; it's fashion, it's art, it's culture, it's having a platform, and I think she does brilliantly of merging all of those.
This is where the story transitions from surprise into expectation. Once an overlooked strength becomes known, it gets factored into everything that follows. Opponents will prepare with greater awareness. Commentators will approach her matches with a wider frame of reference. And audiences will watch with a deeper curiosity about how this cultural dimension continues to shape her path forward. At the same time, the weight of expectation naturally increases. Moments that generate this kind of global attention tend to reset the standards applied to the person behind them. Eala is no longer simply a young prospect moving up the rankings. She is now connected to a story that speaks to multiple audiences simultaneously: Spanish fans who feel a genuine cultural thread, and Filipino supporters who see in her something that extends well beyond tennis results. Eala's journey highlights a deeper dimension of that integration, one where identity is not anchored to a single origin but is instead shaped by multiple influences that have merged naturally over time. Her path offers a compelling illustration of how full cultural immersion can produce benefits that reach beyond technical skill into something more lasting and personal, both a competitive advantage and a source of cultural growth.
Mostly supporting Alex, but I have to say it is great to be on a crowded court. I played this tournament for many years, and to see the stadium full, it means a lot. And also, like to thank Alex for bringing a new demographic to the sport. I really appreciate I think it's great. I know sometimes it's tough when you're playing against a home crowd, but I think that it's great for the sport. So keep being enthusiastic and keep rooting for your player.
As a result, her Madrid moment may reshape not only how she is evaluated going forward, but also how future players think about their own development journeys, because it makes a persuasive case that committing fully to a new environment, rather than engaging with it selectively, can open doors that partial adaptation simply cannot. Madrid did not just put a skill on display. It reframed an entire story, transforming what had appeared to be a linear progression into something far more textured, culturally rich, and genuinely unexpected. And as that story continues to develop, one conclusion becomes difficult to avoid. The tennis world did not simply witness a surprising interview. It witnessed the emergence of a player whose growth cannot be fully captured through conventional metrics, and whose journey may quietly challenge the assumptions the sport has long held about what development at the highest level is actually supposed to look like.